Hi. Hi everyone, how you doing? Okay, what day is it today? I believe it's Friday. I realised that I've been doing these videos now at least once a day for 2 or 3 weeks. They really have kind of mirrored the lockdown experience. I started doing these just before lockdown went official. And hopefully, by the time we get to the present day, which will be now 1:05 by the time we get there, I think, lockdown will be eased. So for the rest of my life, and hopefully yours, if you're watching, you'll be able to associate this video journey with a particular time of the world's history. A time that I think could be argued is when the going gets tough. And when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So it's a song that's already appeared on the Now. Can you remember which one? That's right, it was Now 7. 6 times 7 is 42, which is also the meaning of life, I believe, according to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So it should be a very, very important Now. And yeah, the going has been getting a bit tough with the last few Nows. So let's hope things come good. I'm sure they will, because I know 99 was a good year for music. And it's also the last year of the 90s, so this is the first full decade that I've done from literally year 0 to year 9. The 80s, of course, started in 83 with the Now, first Now 1 being released then. So we never got any songs from Now 80, 81 or 82, maybe the odd re-release. This looks and feels like a comic relief song. I'm just looking at video and I can see all manner of celebrities having fun. And it's a pretty good version, actually. They've kept it pretty much as is. It was a classic 80s song from Billy Ocean. That had a wacky video as well with Danny DeVito and stuff. Yeah, it's a perfectly good cover, really. It's for a good cause. Good stuff, guys. That's 2 decent Boyzone songs on the trot. Wow. Right, Better Best Forgotten next from Steps. There's such an obvious joke to be made there. And in fact, it was totally forgotten by me. I had to play it again just to remind myself. And I was like, oh, that one. If you're going to get muso about it, and being muso about step songs is not something you find very often, I don't like the transition from the pre-chorus to the chorus. I like the verse, I like the pre-chorus, and I even like the chorus, but it just doesn't seem to go. I don't know if it's like a key jump or something, but it just seems to come in really randomly, the chorus. I would have kind of worked my way to it slightly differently. I'm sure Steps aren't that bothered by my musical appreciation of their 20-year-old songs. Yeah, we're going back to the kind of ABBA thing now. I say going back to Stock Aitken Waterman have really realised that's the market for Steps. As such, it does maybe feel a bit contrived. But, you know, they're kind of geniuses at that kind of songwriting. Albeit the jump, as I say, from the pre-chorus to the chorus could have been a bit better. So yeah, not bad. I wouldn't say better best forgotten, but it is forgotten. Now here's one that isn't forgotten, and maybe a lot of people would rather this one was. I think it's the first solo Cher single that I've really held forth upon, which is remarkable, really. She has popped up here and there in various guises, sometimes as a sample, like on the All Seeing Eye, sometimes in a cover version, like with the UB40 and Chrissy Hind, I Got You. Sometimes with other artists, like the Love Can Build a Bridge thing. So here's the first pure 24-carat Cher song, 55 million views. And in terms of paradigms, hello everybody, my name is Auto-Tune. Welcome to my world. Of course, Auto-Tune had been around for a while, or harmonic correction, let's give it its real name. And here it's become an instrument in its own right. I gather it was a kind of happy accident. They just accidentally put the setting on, didn't really know how it was going to end up. And people were like, wow, that's mental. It's also the first time that I'm aware of that Cher's gone anything vaguely resembling dance. I mean, the beats are soft as... what's really soft? Ice cream, there you go. They're not hard club beats at all, they're really soft. It's kind of vaguely funky, I suppose. It's kind of inexplicable just how popular this song was. Because I don't think, you know, it's one that normal Cher fans would have really liked. I can only think it did bring her to a whole new audience. Yeah, an interesting slice of pop culture. Now, talking of pop culture, thank ABBA for the music. Again, it's not the first time we've had ABBA stuff on a Now. It's come up in different forms. We had the original Dancing Queen and Bjorn Again on Now 23, although the Bjorn Again song wasn't even an ABBA song. It was an Erasure song. We had Erasure doing ABBA songs on Now 22, was it? I think, yeah. Here's another medley by Steps, Tina Cousins, Cleopatra, Bewitched and Billy. It's okay for an ABBA medley, but there's really only one ABBA medley that you need in your life. It's by Alan Partridge and Gina Langland. That's how ABBA songs should be performed. And all these amateurs, like Steps and Billy and stuff, they just need to watch The Expert. They need to watch Alan Partridge and listen to his delivery, listen to how he finesses the song, how he gently and tenderly reimagines the genius of ABBA. Yeah, even his co-star Gina Langland, she's not quite as good as Alan in hitting those all-important high notes. So it's an okay ABBA medley, but it's not Alan Partridge. Right, Goodbye by the Spice Girls. I think this was a farewell with a name like that. Of course, they'd come back soon enough after their babies were born and they got married and divorced and needed a few pennies. Adequate. Another Goodbye song, End of the Line. The Honeys, unless they're talking about High Barnet or Cockfosters, indeed. Perfectly pleasant, kind of almost 80s style, really, R&B. Honey to the Bee, Billy, and she's basically trying to do All Saints, Never Ever, with not quite as good results. I'm never going to be totally rude about Billy, but it's not All Saints, that's for sure, musically anyway. Okay. That moment when you drop the camera, hopefully it'll be okay. Do a sneaky edit if it isn't. Now, here's a band that I'm going to play for the first time. They have appeared before, but this is the first time I've featured them. It is The Cause. And What Can I Do? Now, in fact, this one was produced by some guys who've been around on a few of these Nows. Tintin Out. They started off, their first single was really kind of quite pumping Eurodance. Then they slowed it right down for Here's Where the Story Ends. And now they've kind of done another slowy one. So they're barely even dance. And The Cause are absolutely not a dance group. It sounds a bit like Edie Brickell. I don't know if it's a sample from it or just very similar. What I Am, the guitar. And the beat reminds me a bit of SWV, Human Nature. So it's a bit of a melange of various different bits and bobs, all given the luscious vocal stylings of the Cause girls and boy. I don't think he sings on it. What did he actually do? Was he a drummer or something? Because there's no real drums on this. It's just a loop. Oh, guitar. Okay. Yeah, The Cause. Very nice. Mentioned in The Office. I'm trying to think which episode it was. I think it was episode 1 of season 2, but I could be wrong. I think it's when the Swindon lot come and David Brent starts talking about the Cause. I nearly said The Doors. It's really funny. Okay, Emilia and Big Big World. That was a really drippy song. I have a drippy threshold. I can take moderately drippy, but when it gets up to like red light danger levels, as in Emilia style, then it's so sort of syrupy that it's just your teeth are gonna fall out. You might as well put your teeth in a vat of Coke. So Big Big World is a big no for me, I'm afraid. Killing Time 99, Tina Cousins. Fairly obscure dance song. I don't even remember the original, let alone the 99 remix. Not bad, fairly credible. Certainly after things like Emilia, it's a step up. But yeah, not remembered. Okay, now one that's absolutely not credible, I don't think. If it is, then I'm a Dutchman. But it's kind of a guilty pleasure, because I'm a kind of transport geek, so I like songs about buses and trains and planes and automobiles. Can you tell what it is yet? I like horn noises, as in beeping horns. Yeah, guilty pleasure time. I liked Aqua, Barbie Girl, and I like this. It's oomph. It's oomph. If you're going to do stuff like this, you need oomph. She's smiling in the video. I think I just is kind of knowing again. There's such a fine line. It really is. And it's a personal thing. Maybe it's not totally rational. Maybe there's some kind of emotional resonance thing going on in what makes a cheesy tune unbearable and what makes a cheesy tune sound good after a few drinks and stuff. I don't know. They've kind of mangled the same Billy Ocean song, but they've kind of dumbed it down a bit. Just going to put some wheels in motion. Oh, dearie me. But I don't mind it. I really don't. I'd be dancing along to it. So, yeah, guilty pleasure time. Kind of same ilk, and maybe more people actually prefer this one. The cartoons and Witch Doctor, which is actually a really, really old song. I think it's like a 50s song or something. I just want to find out a bit of history about that song. Even Diva have done a version of it. Yeah, 1958, actually. Written and performed by Ross Bagdasarian. Wow, under the stage name David Seville. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. So, yeah, another good, intelligent, literate, deep meta song there. Maybe. Alvin and the Chipmunks done a version of it. It's funny how they came from Denmark, which I'm sure is where Aqua came from. Must be a Danish thing. That is Witch Doctor by the Cartoons. Talking of Scandinavia, Ace of Base. Always have, always will. I feel like I should like this, but it just doesn't really live up to all its components. Once again, I find myself disappointed with an Ace of Base song. Just wishing they'd get back to their old sound. Now, I love Motown. I've said it often enough. I love Northern Soul. I've said it often enough. And I like songs that have that production value. Always have, always will. Really could have been good, and it's not far from being good. It's definitely got the production values right for that kind of style. I think it's just that it's Ace of Base. I just don't find them convincing doing a kind of Motown-y song. I guess it has come out more ABBA-y, really, a bit like Waterloo or something. And it's not bad. It's just not all that she wants or something. Maybe I'm just too narrow-minded and I'm just keeping them stuck in their box. I am open-minded to the fact they could do something better or different. But this one, always have, always will, never was really, in my opinion. Almost, let's say that, yeah, almost was, almost will. Right, Blockstar is here now, and it's another old song, and see if you can work out what it is. It's Bee Gees, You Should Be Dancing. Ministry of Sound coming in now, in terms of being a label as well as a club, and they had a magazine and everything. It's Brandon Block, aka Blockstar. Another bit of pop trivia, or pop culture history. Another good clip. And I'm using these songs as springboards for interesting clips and stuff. Check out, I think it was the Brits Awards, and I think it was it Keith Richards or Ronnie Wood or someone? Just check it out. Brandon Block had gone to the toilet, and when he came back, his mates had told him that he'd won a Brit Award. So he goes up on stage, and of course it was a wind-up. He'd not won anything. And he sort of goes up, and I think it was Keith Richards. He's just sort of looking a bit puzzled. It's like, why is this guy here? And I think a glass of water gets thrown. Ronnie Wood, that was it, yeah. Very, very strange event. Yeah, look that one up. Brandon Block, Ronnie Wood, Brits Awards. Tell me what you think in the comments. As for this, yeah, pretty good pumping version of the Bee Gees song. I don't think it's the Bee Gees singing. It's pretty good sound alike. Now, very, very cleverly sequenced, I'm sure it was deliberate, is another song based on Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. It's Enjoy Yourself by A+, which is actually based on Walter Murphy, A Fifth of Beethoven. Do you remember that? The kind of disco-y Beethoven thing. And it's a kind of fairly bog-standard hip-hop update of it. It works pretty well, actually. I think it's a bit forgotten now. And in a similar vein, now, is it El Paraíso without the D or El Paradiso with the D? El Paraíso Rico. I think it's supposed to be no D in it, but on the now thing, I've put the D in. It's Dita, or Eta, I guess, if there's no D. And it's a song that's kind of loosely based. Do you remember her last one, Relax, was based on Dire Straits? She goes back to the 80s again, La Isla Bonita by Madonna. Nearest you're going to get to Madonna on her now, certainly for the time being. Cover time again. Emmy and More Than This. Yeah, this was an old Roxy Music song. Not one of their worst. I've never been a big fan of them, as I said years ago when they were relevant to talk about in the now era. It's an adequate version of it. It's not going to win an Emmy, that's for sure. Or even a Grammy. Okay, now, one that I loved, but you've got to get the right mix. And the right mix isn't the now mix of it. It's DJ Sakin and Protect Your Mind. Well, DJ Sakin and Friends, should I say. Should we find it? I'll put the one on the now on, because that's what you're going to get if you get the album. It's Braveheart for the Love of a Princess. But really, for this song, there's a 12-inch, which I think it was on Positiva, and it's just absolutely mint. I think it was Tauscher mix or something. Let me just check, because I want you going off in the right direction. Yeah, obviously, you know where the music comes from. Braveheart. Gorgeous. It sounds very much like I Vow to Be Our Country. Yeah, lovely stuff. I don't really like those vocals. They're not on the version that I play. Doesn't need them. But that's how you have a hit record, if a trancey sort of thing. You have to put those kind of vocals on it. Yeah. Anyway, Braveheart with a kind of trancey beat. Should we get going? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is one of the big trance songs of the day. But you've got to get the right mix. Okay, this is followed by Full Booner and Popped. Full Booner, that's a weird name, isn't it? It's actually a pretty good dance version of, well, a dance tune that samples The Passenger by Iggy Pop. That's a weird one that you wouldn't expect in a dance tune. I guess it follows on a bit from the James Sit Down remix. It's got that kind of swing techno beat, glam techno kind of thing. That's followed by Colour the World, Sash. He's still going, actually, and he's kind of come back a bit. I did say that Euro acts could be like cartons of milk. They could go off, and then once they go off, that's it. But in the case of Sash, I think it was a new milk delivery. I think a new bottle of milk came. Maybe he got a new milkman. So Colour the World. I mean, it's not really remembered as such, but it's not bad. Now, one that's totally forgotten is Justin, Over You. And I first thought, is that Justin Timberlake? Not Justin Bieber, but is it a famous Justin? No, it's not. It's a totally unfamous Justin. Maybe Just in Time, or Just in Case. And it's a very meh song. It's totally forgotten. Right, Strong, Robbie Williams. That's a strong song. It's good lyrics, good melody. Robbie Williams at the top of his game again. Fly Away by Lenny Kravitz. He's back again after a long old absence. Someone who straddles both ends of the 90s, maybe disappeared in the middle. I think he was building a family with Vanessa Paradis before she went off and ended up with Johnny Depp, I think. Yeah, another strong Lenny Kravitz song. You can always rely on him to do something half decent. Fly Away. The only bad thing about that song is that it rhymes fly with high in the sky, which is sort of songwriting 101, and Lenny Kravitz is way beyond doing that. But musically, it's great. It's a cracker. It's kind of a bit more post-Hendrix, quite funky, rocky sort of thing. Right, all-time tune, all-time video now. Let's see how many views this has had. And it's Fatboy again. He's been around for a while now, in all his incarnations, particularly this one. But what's good about him is that he's found a different sound. This is really different from Rockefeller Skank. And he certainly likes doing adventurous stuff. and stuff that's really different. Who remembers the video for this? Really surprised it's only had 11 million views. Our anthem, When We Make It Through the Coronavirus. Yeah. And it says here, back when the internet was fun, I miss fun internet. Well, this is fun, isn't it? The internet's as fun as ever. It's what you look for. It's not got less fun. It's probably your life. I don't think the internet was that fun in the late 90s. You had to sit there waiting for ages and ages for stuff to download. If someone called you halfway through a download, that was it. You'd be watching that progress bar like your life depended on it. And remember those shitty kind of early web pages with awful flashing text and clashing colours? How did I get onto that? Well, it is 1999, so we're in the run-up to the Millennium Bug now. Yeah, tune. Great tune. Anyway, Fatboy Slim, praise you. Another big club classic now. You Don't Know Me, Armand Van Helden and Dwayne Harden. Is this Armand's first appearance on one of these? Not one that I really like, but hella popular amongst clubbers, I know that. I think I preferred his Tori Amos and Sneaker Pimps remixes, Professional Widow and It's Gotta Be Big and that sort of stuff, and Spin Spin Sugar. Alright, weird song alert now. And I've got to say, this album's way better than the last two. There's been a lot of listenable stuff on it and a lot of interesting stuff with stories attached. Flatbeat, Mr. Wazzo, what on earth was going on here then? But it's a tune. Very paradigm shifting in a way, minimal. What would you call it? It's kind of gimmicky novelty in its presentation, but not really in the music. Yeah. Very strange song. Very minimal, just pretty much the bass and beats. So, yeah, that's why it's called Flatbeat, I suppose. And what exactly was Mr. Wazzo? I'm just trying to get a bit of background behind it. So, yeah, Mr. Wazzo was basically a French guy. That's Flat Eric, that's right. And it was in the jeans for Levi's. So, I forget that Levi's jeans are still cool. This is just before Jeremy Clarkson started to make them deeply untrendy. Yeah. It's a weird song. It's definitely different. I think it made #1, which is quite strange. Yeah, it's certainly an artifact. Okay, Erase and Rewind. The Cardigans are back with more of a ballad for them. Yeah, it's another good song. 3 out of 3. Ain't bad. Great stuff. Right, it's the introduction of Just Looking now for the Stereophonics, their first appearance on a Now. They'd go on to have loads and loads of songs. My favourite, I think, is Dakota. Do you remember the video for Just Looking? I think it was that one where they were in a car and have a car crash and it basically ends up in a river. Quite a weird video. Now, the All-Seeing Eye are back, featuring Tony Christie, with a song, I believe, written by Jarvis Cocker, Walk Like a Panther. They're certainly quirky, the All-Seeing Eye. Tony Christie, he was an old 70s kind of cabaret guy. He would shortly come back with Peter Kay. We'll come on to that at the time, if it makes it now. So it's more quirky stuff. It's kind of more cod lounge. That has been quite a big thing in the late 90s, hasn't it? I guess Mike Flowers Pop started it. Didn't make a Now with his version of Wonderwall. We've had people like Space doing it. And maybe even people like St. Etienne are kind of borderline, slightly knowing, just a bit kind of ironic. Talking of knowing and ironic, a song I've got to play now. I played Everybody Knows That I Love You. I'm going to play this because we could all do have a laugh right now. It's the second bus-related song on here. We had the Venga bus. Now it's time for the National Express. And if you can't get on a real National Express right now, and you want to go somewhere and it's pissing you off that you can't, just shut your eyes and have a listen to this. What on earth's this? Some weird video starting thing. How can you stay upset or unhappy or just in a down mood with this? Brilliant. It's probably his most famous song. I can't believe it's only had 290,000 views. Not only made 250,000. Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. People are missing out here. Yeah. Brilliant. Do they have National Express coaches in Ireland, or is he talking about Britain? Just one wonders. Anyway, I'm sure it's the same all over the world. I'm sure if it was in America, it'd be a Greyhound bus. Buses are buses, really. Right. In wacky mode, and I've got to say, this album's been way more entertaining in the last two. And I knew this would happen, because I knew that pop music was good in '99, and I just wanted Nows to kick themselves in the butt and start reflecting at. Terrorvision, Tequila, they've been on a previous Now, they're back again with a fairly jokey kind of song. It's still kind of indie, but it's another song that's jaunty on the surface, but fairly dark lyrics, really, when you break them down. It's kind of a drinking song, but it's a bit like Chumbawamba and Tub Thumping. It's well aware of the dark side of drinking. So Tequila, yeah. And Beautiful South, How Long's a Tear Take to Dry? They continue their renaissance. This has been a really good album. I think it was called Quench. And Jackie Abbott is proving to be a really good singer. I like Brianna. When she was good, she was great. She could be a bit irritating sometimes, but I'm not going to hate on her, because the Beautiful South, when they first came in here, I said I wasn't that big a fan of them, but actually just going back through all their songs and reminding myself just how many, literally dozens, scores of great songs they've done. They really were a consistent group from the beginning of the 90s to the end of the 90s and throughout. They must rank in terms of pure good songs. It's one of the most prolific 90s bands. So yeah, nice one. Roxette are back. Talking of beginning of the 90s, Wish I Could Fly. I think even Orville's Wish I Could Fly is more memorable than this one. I don't mean to hate on them. I still feel a bit tender about Marie's death, and I don't want to be too rude, but it's not a good song. It's really not even a good Roxette song. I suppose it's a bit different from their old stuff, and that in itself is worthy of it's worthy of something. 9/11 follow that with a little bit more. God, they've had enough songs, haven't they? But I've not played a single one. I'm not going to start now. Drew Hill follows this with These Are the Times. Pretty good slab of R&B, actually. It's quite epic. Should we play it? R&B is one of those genres. It's really just as good or bad as the individual song. It can be very bland and boring and samey and by numbers. But every now and then you get a really epic R&B song that really just kind of pushes things. I've always remembered Drew Hill stuff being way more kind of dramatic. Like, they actually have real feeling. It's not too kind of posy and stiff. It's actually quite, just sort of a lot of feelings in there, really. Bit slow, but not always a bad thing. Right, anyway. My Love. Okay, now here's an interesting one. Kelly LaRock. Like the DJ Sacking one, the version on the Now is not really the club-friendly one. You really want the UK garage mix of that, which is an absolute banger of a tune. One of the best garage songs. Kelly LaRock, My Love. The original's okay. It's kind of like this. It's sort of fairly soft soul. I don't think many people probably play the original compared to the R&B one. The UKG one. That's Kelly LaRock, My Love. War of Nerves gets on my nerves a bit. All Saints, not too bad, but it's not Never Ever. Right, excuse my pronunciation. Nkanyezi Nezazi, The Star and the Wise Man. Lady Smith, Black Mambazo are back on her now. After their thing with China Black, Swing Low. This song was fairly about 7 or 8 years old. I think it's a cappella, more or less. It's African, and it's really, really beautiful and epic, really. It's just a shame that it took a Heinz advert for it to kind of make the charts. But it did, and I guess that's better than nothing. That's followed by Blur. Bit of a comeback after a bit of a break. Yet again, they've changed their sound. Tender. It's almost like old U2, really. The Sweetest Thing, that one from the last Now. It doesn't really feel like Blur. It's quite a kind of gospely, anthemic stadium thing, almost a ballad. Should we stick it on? Because we're nearly at the end now, and I want to do the roundup. One more song, and it's an oldie, a classic oldie. I don't know why it was re-released, but I'm not complaining. Was it about the time she died? Dusty Springfield, and You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, which is a classic song, one of the most classic songs of all time, and you really can't complain about that being on a now. It's quite nice to be at the end of it. It's a nice kind of big ending. So, now 42. This is probably as good as Now's 40 and 41 put together, really, in terms of classics. Yeah, Dusty Springfield died in March 99, so I'm assuming it's a kind of a tribute to her. And yeah, let's just pay a tribute to Dusty Springfield, one of the greatest UK singers of all time. So many great songs. Probably her most famous, well, You'd Have to Say You Love Me, I Only Want to Be With You, Son of a Preacher Man. Yeah, sad loss. Okay, so what's a real classic song on Now 42 then? Right, well, When the Going Gets Tough, Tough Get Going was a classic in the 80s. Boyzone, Keep It Up. I think Share Believe, maybe kind of camp classic, auto-tune classic. We've got the ABBA medley, but as I say, it's Alan Partridge did the classic there. The Cause, What Can I Do? Borderline, really. I think The Cause are a well-known band, and it's probably one of the most well-known songs. Witch Doctor cartoons, I think, is a kind of kitsch classic. Maybe Venga Bus, but it might have failed its MOT by now. Blockster was an old Bee Gees song. Enjoy Yourself was an old Saturday Night Fever song. I think DJ Sakin in the right mix is a trance classic, Protect Your Mind. I think Fly Away by Lenny Kravitz and Strong, Robbie Williams. But the first real classic would be Praise You by Fatboy Slim. That wins classic of the album. I think You Don't Know Me by Armand Van Helden's a dance classic. Flatbeat is an interesting oddity. Erase and Rewind is another Cardigans classic. They've had 3 out of 3 actual classic songs. Loveful, My Favourite Game, and Erase and Rewind. Stereophonics would go on to do more well-known stuff, but I think Just Looking's fairly well-known. Walk Like a Panther, ish. I would have thought National Express by Divine Comedy would have had way more views. I think it's still a classic. Maybe it's just a bit niche. Then there's a few that aren't. I think this one, Tender by Blur, and obviously a reissue of a classic. Dusty Springfield, You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. So all in all, I'm impressed with Now 42. It's only got a few real stinkers. It's got a really good cross-section of music. Yeah, it's got some pure pop, maybe meant for like 9-year-olds and stuff. But it's also got some pretty mature stuff like Ladysmith, Black Mambazo, Drew Hill, Kelly LaRock. It's got some good dance tunes. It's got a bit of Fatboy Slim. It's got some good indie. It's got the Cardigans. It's got Stereophonics. Some quirky stuff like the Divine Comedy, Terrorvision, and then some sort of more oldies, really. Yeah, like Dusty Springfield and stuff. A couple of Saturday Night Fever inspired things. So really across the board, it's not one of the best nows ever, and it is maybe still a bit reliant on old songs, but it's certainly a big step up, and it certainly got me excited about doing the next one. Alright, so just when I think they're going down the pan, they come back with a good volume, which is why I like doing this video. It's certainly got its ups and downs. Alright everybody, you take care. And, as always, let me know what you think. If I get it wrong, I'm always making little mistakes or slips of the tongue. I said something about Belinda Carlisle, Circles in the Sky. Obviously I meant Circles in the Sand. I kind of got it mixed up with Castles in the Sky. But now I've got an idea for a mashup. Would that work? Circle in the Sand vocals over the music from Castle in the Sky by Ian Van Dahl. One to think about. So yeah, I do make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I just rattling away at 100 miles an hour. Sometimes I get my words wrong. Sometimes I get my facts wrong. Not too often, I hope. But you can correct me in real time if you see anything that I say that doesn't stack up. All right, everyone, you take care. Bye. See you for Now 43.